The Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business Podcast brings you a unique view of Mesa through its vibrant business community and the subjects that are important. The podcast is produced in the Mesa Chamber of Commerce Media Studio, sponsored by the University of Phoenix. Our podcast is hosted by Mesa Chamber of Commerce CEO Sally Harrison. Please enjoy this episode of the Mesa Chamber Inside Business Podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Inside Business Mesa Chamber of Commerce podcast. I'm not Sally.
No.
I'm still Bob.
Yeah.
And Sally's here with me.
Yep.
And we've got coming back and also new at the same time, Golden Goose Digital Marketing.
Well, one's new, one's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan Baker, who was with us last time, is with us again today. And Dan.
Hello.
Hello. And joining Dan is Josh. Josh, how are you?
I'm good.
Josh, your last name just went right out of my head, like literally as I said your name.
It's
Sorry.
low.
Okay, Low. Josh Low. Very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Kind of low now.
It's like I'm confused now. I don't know what to do.
I was trying to make that low comment sound funnier than it was, but I don't know.
Ah.
I need more last name puns, apparently.
We'll take care of it in post. It'll be hilarious.
Awesome. Laugh track.
So
Meanwhile,
welcome
they take
back
care of
to
nothing
Dan.
else.
Welcome back, Golden Goose, in a general
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
So
So before we get started, talk about what Golden Goose is. Because
Yes.
not everybody knows, right?
Yes. So Golden Goose, we are a digital marketing agency, and we specialize in all things digital marketing, mostly focused around online advertising, website, social media. What else am I missing? I don't know. Just general things. Whatever. Like I've said before, come to us with a problem with an online issue, and we'll probably fix it, even if it seems like IT sometimes.
Probably fix it.
It all is.
Probably.
There's I take that back. We'll likely fix it, and then we'll have no idea how to charge you for it. That feels more in line with our MO.
Okay. Well, you talked about digital advertising for your business. How many networks can people advertise their business on digitally?
I don't know. I would say at this point it's endless. So I can think of 6 off the top of my head, maybe even more. But obviously there's all the different online perspectives. So you could run Google ads, you could run Bing ads, you could run in a programmatic platform like a display and video 360. You could do that through Verizon. You could do that. What else am I missing? Amazon has options. Then you can go social with LinkedIn. You can do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Pinterest, surprisingly, I just got hit up. Did you see that email from that lady from Pinterest wanting us to advertise for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Direct buys.
Yeah, direct buys. Yeah. So obviously, you can directly purchase advertising through websites. If you wanted to advertise on the Mesa Chamber, that's something you can also do. Surprisingly,
Oh,
right?
look at that.
Yeah, look at the plug.
Way to go, Dan.
That's why you got invited back, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Bring in the plugs.
Just don't do enough of that, Dan.
So, Dan, question for you. When people think, hey, I want to advertise online, right?
Yep.
What are some of the things that they kind of need to think about or plan around or consider before they pull the trigger on something?
I think they obviously want to have their messaging in order, what their branding looks like. They want to have an idea of what they want that to sound like. But they also should really have something in relation to their website. It should be really well set up in order to actually convert, because if we take somebody to a bad website, it's not going to do very well. No matter what advertising you do, if it doesn't take somebody to something that they can then perform a task on, or a conversion is what we would call it, but it's not going to do any good, and your advertising dollar will be wasted. So that's kind of the way that I think people should really focus in on, is my website dialed in enough to kind of handle this kind of ad traffic, and then get people to take action from that traffic.
Yeah. Also, what helps, Dan especially, is have a good idea of what your ideal customer looks like. That way we can really nail down the targeting.
Yes.
Especially from a programmatic standpoint. It's crazy some of the data points that we have access to.
Yeah.
So having a good idea of the person that you want to go after, and type of person that's succeeded well or has performed well for you in the past as a customer. Can really help him with the targeting.
That is huge. And surprisingly, like Josh alluded to with the programmatic, we have yet to find, actually, I have one client I can think of that we haven't been able to find a ideal audience for them, just because the services that they offer are so immediate that it would be difficult for them to get in front of them through that type of advertising. They need a little bit more of an immediacy.
So my house is on fire, I need to
yes,
put it out
if you need the fire department, obviously ads might not
Let me
be
run
in
some
the best
ads.
line of defense. And it's like, how do I get in touch with the fire department? And then you have to hope that an ad populates. Yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Well, okay, so aside from hey, I got a sale, how else can someone know if their ad's effective?
So there's actually quite a bunch of different ways that you can do it. So, it can be dependent on things like click-through rates, how many impressions you're getting, what your impression share looks like, and that just impressions means how many people did the ad serve to that they actually saw the ad. Maybe they didn't click on the ad, but they actually saw it. So that can be effective if you're trying to brand. Obviously, if they're clicking, and that's where the click-through rate comes in. So how many clicks did I get versus my impressions? What else am I missing? Basically, like time on page. You can like things like bounce rates and like how many pages they viewed once they entered a site from an ad. Is there anything else am I missing here?
It depends on what the campaign goals are, but the cool thing is we can auto-optimize the ads based on whatever conversion goals you have.
Yeah, because it doesn't always have to be a sale is like your conversion goal. Somebody can be in the position where, well, it's really difficult. I can't sell my products online, so people will have to call me or they have to fill out a form, and then at that point we can get the ball rolling on what their specific need is because, I'm a custom solution or my product offering isn't something that's easily sold online because it's maybe a really large purchase or something. So that'd be where, somebody picking up the phone and dialing or somebody filling out a form and reaching out. Like those are really effective ways to know if your campaigns are, performing beyond just, hey, I got a sale. Like I sell widgets and I sold 100 widgets with my $100 of ad spend kind of thing. So that would be a huge way to kind of track that and say this is working well. So.
Well, what is ad tracking? Why are people talking about it so much?
Segue.
Good
Thank you.
segue.
He led right into that.
I know.
It's like I planned it, right? So ad tracking, I think there's probably two schools of thought. So there is ad tracking in relation to what we're looking for, which is targeting the right people and then tracking how they interact with an ad. So I want to know what kinds of things did they do. Are the ads being effective? If I'm seeing a really low click-through rate, I obviously know that the ads are not effective. People aren't interested in them and they're not clicking them because they're not grabbing their attention. So we want to try to improve things like that. If the conversions are low, maybe we have something not properly set up on the site, or maybe just where we have it on the site isn't flowing properly for them and they're leaving before we get them to where we want them and driving them in. That's like one school of thought around ad tracking. I would assume the second school of thought in relation to that is around the tracking of your targeted audience. So tracking them through their customer journey or their web journey that they are going down, and then as they go through that web journey, using that data that these platforms that exist, these ad exchanges and different places where they can pull that data, can then use that as an advertiser. We're allowed to then track that and know if that's a viable audience for the products and services that our customers are looking to sell to that particular audience. So those would be like the two schools of thoughts whenever I think about ad tracking. So
I have no idea what he just said. Do you?
Simplify it for you, Josh.
Halfway through, I was good, and then it just kind of went, oh, I'm glazing.
I think he's the guy on the commercials at the very end that does the really fast talk.
Yeah.
This is generally how it goes. He'll go off and then I'll absorb what he's saying and then drill it down to like a 2-sentence
So Josh
response.
is going to now simplify what I've just said.
Basically, you want to know where a customer is in their journey to purchase. So, we can hit them early on in that purchase journey, and just raise awareness, or we can hit them later on when they have the intention to buy. Yeah. So it's important to know where they are in that process so that we can adjust the message to them.
So is it message based? Let's say, for example, I am looking to buy a used car, but I know that I'm 3 months out. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm going to buy in 3 months out. Does the message change if you're the dealer and the dealer says, hey, I want to know who's buying 3 months from now versus I'm looking for somebody that's going to buy this weekend?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how can people be more cognizant of that messaging in terms of what tips can they have to make sure that they're reaching that person at the right point in the journey they want to reach them at?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a you question. Dan's giving me a weird look, but I think it's important to know where they are in that journey because your message is just going to be totally different. Like, if you're just kind of dipping your toes in the water to buy a car, you're going to, maybe they show you a wide variety of different vehicles because they want to kind of maybe guide your purchase towards a certain direction, maybe a higher trim level or something like that. But, if Google or any of these other ad platforms has data that you are searching specific terms, they're going to want to show you that exact vehicle that you're looking for instead of, a more generic ad that just says, hey, come to our dealership because we're great. That'd be a good branding campaign for somebody that's just in general looking for a car. But then if they're the latter, you want to show them the exact vehicle that they're interested in and steal somebody else's sale, basically.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, it also would depend on the type of ad that you would actually go after at that point. So if somebody in your situation, if you're like 3 months down the line, maybe for the time being, it's just kind of staying in front of you. So like you went to the dealership, you surfed around. Now maybe you filled out a thing saying, hey, I'm a little bit down the line. So maybe they start to send you like a couple of emails. Maybe there's an email marketing, a little drip campaign happening, kind of thing, just keeping you top of mind. Maybe there's some social media stuff happening, and suddenly they're showing up in your social media feed, and you're like, oh yeah, those guys do want to sell me a car, yeah. And then suddenly, like as your purchase intention grows, and they start to see that you're entering the site more often, and things are happening. They're going to start hitting you with ads more frequently, and they're going to start trying to get your attention a lot sooner in that piece. So I think that's kind of the other part, is the actual ad that they're going to utilize, or the platform that they're going to utilize to then reach you as you go through that. So as you I think of it like a funnel. So if you're up here at the top of that funnel, and that's the 3-month mark, once you're in the I want to buy, the lowest part of the funnel, which is the actual PC1, that's where they're going to be really dropping as much of their eggs into that basket as possible, and really hit you with as much targeted information. And like a car is a great example, because you could have a product feed or something like that going, and if there was a car that you went to, suddenly, man, it feels like such a personalized ad. That exact car I was just looking at is on this advertisement. How is that possible? And it's like, oh yeah, so that's part of that.
Crazy, because all that data exists because Google and all these other third-party data providers track people all over the web, and like we all think we're individuals and we all do our own research and think we're more clever than the algorithms, but it's crazy sometimes, the patterns that you can fall into, and they know exactly, sometimes they'll show you something that you didn't even know you were looking for because you fell into a certain behavioral pattern. So
Is that
it's kind of creepy.
Only with shoes.
Good.
So it sounds like, and Dan kind of touched on this, and I kind of want to expound on this. It sounds like there's more than one methodology that could be involved in a campaign. So, for example, you see the ad on Facebook, and then maybe you get a drip email, or talk a little bit about how to utilize those different things together.
Yeah, so I would say kind of utilizing those things together would be about creating that complete message, and making sure that message stays consistent across all the different channels that someone's going into. So you don't want to, be positioning something from a social media perspective as like some great buy, and then they go and they get an email campaign and it makes it sound like it's now a luxury car, but you were looking at like a Honda, and it's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's that kind of message consistency and utilizing each of those pieces to build on each part of it. So if somebody, enters in a website from an advertisement on social media, and they go through the process of saying, hey, I'm interested in purchasing a car eventually. I'd like to give you my email address. Please reach out to me in however many months or something like that. In that situation, suddenly there's an email campaign that starts at that point, because you roll into, and this goes maybe a little beyond the typical online advertising that we're kind of thinking about, but they drop into maybe a customer resource manager solution, so a CRM at that point, where they can create automation to follow that person around. And in one of those things too, maybe you're 3 months out, but if they can hit you with the right message, maybe you'll buy tomorrow if they can get you right away. But maybe they can't, so then you roll through this flow of automation where they say, okay, this person hasn't converted, they haven't purchased a car yet, let's send them another email, let's position them so that they're seeing an ad on social media, let's show them a display advertisement, let's have a video of our commercial play on YouTube, and kind of go on so forth. Oh, they're on Spotify, let's serve them an ad while they're listening to Dead Kennedys or something like that. So yeah, we'll play on that. You didn't even respond, so yeah, but that's exactly.
Just love inside jokes.
Inside jokes.
Nobody is going to understand.
Yeah. And so that was exactly my point. But yeah.
Dan mentioned Dead Kennedys on the way in today, so everybody's caught up.
Yes. And then, so that's the that would be kind of expounding upon how you could utilize those services by keeping that message consistent and making sure you stay top of mind for your particular clientele and your audience, so that they know that you're there for them when they need you. Because that's the biggest issue, is in today's world, you're hit with so much stuff on a regular basis. I was just listening to that podcast, or for the webinar from, the Channel 7, and they were talking about like the 7 different, you have to like hit somebody 7 different times basically, and it's like, we've said that forever, that you have to hit somebody with 7 different like brand interactions before they like even start to recognize like, oh yeah, I should probably work with that brand, and the same thing goes with that messaging needs to be consistent, so that they feel really confident that they're going to work with a company, and that same feeling that they're getting from an ad or from the website is then going to be the end result once they actually talk to somebody or make a purchase and have to deal with some level beyond just surfing the internet. So I think that's the big thing, is getting in front of people and keeping yourself top of mind, because you're just hit with so much data nowadays and so much information, like overload all the time, that it can be really hard to get through the deluge, as it were, of everything you're seeing, and then honing in on what matters. And that's where a lot of what we do around targeting and stuff, annoy the right people is always our slogan kind of thing, so that people don't feel like they're getting hit with stuff that they don't care about, because there is so much that. How much stuff?
So, do you have to sell the lumber in your home to afford this? Is that?
We only accept lumber.
Yes.
Hey, that's a hot thing right now.
Yeah,
I heard the prices just got halved, basically.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, whatever it is, the commodities.
Luckily, I wasn't holding too much of that.
So, but talk a little bit about price. Like, how can a small business engage in this? Can they? I mean, obviously, that's part of why you guys exist, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that can be the scary part is, working with an agency, I'm going to get hit with some huge management fee that I can't afford or something like that, or they're going to have some minimum that I have to spend with them, things like that. And we don't really have any minimums, and we don't feel that our management fees are even close to some of our, competitors, as it were, and things like that. But
as low as 10%.
As low as 10%, yes.
Nice, Josh.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, there's a definite asterisk on that all the way. So. But yeah, we can definitely work inside of those budgets. And I think that's the plus side. We're small, we're nimble, they're never gonna run into that. But at the same point, if you're a company and you feel like, okay, I need to be marketing, I need to be advertising online, I need to be doing things, but I'm nervous about hiring somebody and paying them money to do it, on top of having to pay for things like ad spend and the traditional kind of advertising dollars, as it were, it can be terrifying. So that's where there are some solutions out there. There are some things that we can do to help. We have some packages that are small and help you kind of get your feet wet and and things like that. But even if you had to do a DIY route or something like that, there's a lot of different tools. I mean, Google makes some really smart tools that you can utilize if you wanted to run ads on Google, or same with Facebook and Instagram. They make it really easy to boost posts and create content and not spend a lot of money and things like that. So, and we can help you with all of that stuff as well, and it wouldn't cost a ton, but yeah.
Yep. And if you're kind of that middle, small-ish business size, you can just give us a call, and we'll let you know if we feel like a campaign could be successful for you or not. We don't want to run unsuccessful campaigns, so if we feel like something's going to fail, we'll probably give you a different option, even if it doesn't include us. Because, we want you to succeed. We don't want to run ads for somebody for a month and then have them drop off. That feels terrible for everybody. So.
Yeah, those are the worst whenever we do that for somebody and it doesn't end up panning out. And I think that's one thing that's great too. If you talk to us, it's also something we can maybe help you realize what your actual budget should be. I think sometimes people might not realize how much they have to spend, or even we had a client just recently, and he was telling me what he was spending, and I go, you're spending far too much. Your competitors are nowhere near you on that, so you should be crushing them, but you're not, because you're not doing it correctly, for one, but for two, you're spending way too much. There's no need to spend that much. So here's a more reasonable budget that you could go after. So that's not always going to be the scenario. I think in more times than not, we're going to run into a situation like, no, you're going to need to spend a little more than that. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there are times when that we're going to be able to help you understand what that budget needs looks like, so you can plan for that too. I think that's even bigger. So if the solution doesn't include us, we can at least help you understand what the solution needs to look like, even if you were to do it yourself, kind of thing. So I think that's a really beneficial thing to do, because a lot of people are nervous. What should they spend? That's always the question. We get that asked a lot. Like, we say, what's your budget? And they go, I don't know. What do you think? So
$2 billion.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, how much you got?
So if people do want to kind of reach out to you, how do they do that?
I think, like we said in the last podcast, they can obviously reach out to us. They can go to our website, goldengoosedm.com.
That was so long ago, though.
Yeah, it was a while ago, surprisingly, right? And then the goldengoosedm.com. They could fill out a form there. We've got our phone number there. That's 480-877-9805. They could reach out to info@goldengoosedm.com. Again, I'm still prone to carrier pigeons and smoke signals, so that's my preferred method of communication. But if that's not in your wheelhouse, I know we got a lot of fire restrictions right now, so whatever works. So
You could face in the Queen Creek direction and extend your arms.
There you go.
If you stand
It's
in
the
a
best
road
way
and
to
just
reach
yell
out.
digital marketing, we will try to find you.
A magical golden goose will appear in the
Yes.
sky.
Yes.
Okay, I do have a follow-up question to last time. So when you were here, you were talking about a road trip with your friends to go riding. How'd that turn out?
Oh, with this gentleman over here to my right.
It's one of
Yeah.
them.
I had a lot of fun.
So 1 out of 2.
One
Oh, wait,
yeah.
1 out of 3?
One out of 3 had a great time.
I took him to mountain bike heaven, and he complained the whole time.
Yes.
I claim no responsibility.
There's no responsibility. We looking back, it is one of those trips where you look back and you go, "That was a really fun trip. We should do it again." And only one person thinks to himself, "No, we shouldn't." So.
There you go. Okay. Interesting.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes,
all right.
I think we are planning. Aren't we talking about another trip? We've been talking about going to like Colorado or something like that, right?
Sure.
That's a conversation we
Josh
had.
is like, hey, I'm on the radio.
Here's
Don't
the,
be
here's
that
the
Do you want
joy.
to listen to all the complaining?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Let's hash this out right now.
We discussed
front
an
of
option in which I didn't have
Well,
to
we
go
do
up a
therapy
hill.
on the
Yeah.
side.
You don't have to go up a hill?
Yeah, not having as long as I can go down the hill, that's fine. It's the act of going up the hill, and I believe you said there was a tram or something that could take us to the top of the
Yeah.
hill. So there's the
Sounds
the
fair.
resolution, right? Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. All right.
Interesting.
Well, there you go.
So, will you guys typically see a surge of business going into the fall for the holidays?
Yeah.
Is there a cycle?
I think we're in our busy season actually right now, and I would say that.
I don't know
right?
if our data set goes back far enough to.
Okay, so how about what we know about being in the industry as long as we have is there is a typical uptick in the summertime and things like that, and
Interesting.
into the fall time there's usually a pretty big uptick, and then it drops pretty significantly like around like the first of the year and stuff.
Are people buying now for the holidays, or are they buying now for now?
They're kind of buying now for now, but there is like the thought process of, well, I want to be ready for the holidays, so maybe they're planning a positioning where they're going to start advertising now to get the messaging out there, and then they're going to make a big push towards, the end of the year and holiday times. But it really is industry specific.
Yeah.
Some places are weird. Like if you sell insurance, there's like an open enrollment period, so that's
Right,
your busy
right.
time, right?
Right.
Or if you sell
Retails,
if you sell back to school
Thanksgiving
stuff,
and-
right now it's crazy, right? This is your time. This is your Christmas, But if you're on an e-commerce platform where you sell a consumer good, the holidays are obviously going to be bigger. Or if you sell if you do taxes or something like that, your CPA, your big season should be in that lull for us at that point. For when a lot of our other people are kind of doing a regroup, you should be hitting the ground hard because it's January and it's time to do your taxes.
By the way, good job on demonstrating your industry knowledge right there by extending several industries and when their hot period is. That's why people should use you. Just saying.
What?
Dan knows a freakish amount of information on a lot of a wide variety of things.
I'm a master of none, but I yeah.
A
We've
jeweler
gotten-
of many.
Yeah. We've gotten a lot of client calls where I'm like, I don't know anything about this industry, and he's just rattling off business names and weird
It's your chamber
facts.
membership,
And,
isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
think so.
I stalk the directory. Yes.
I know. I know.
Okay.
What else you want to know?
Well, there's so many things, but I think it might be saved for another time.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
We
I
should
think
try
so.
and get all 3 of them next time.
yeah,
The
we
trifecta.
tried.
Yeah, we tried. Yeah, Ben was like, "No, I'm busy."
Ben will be listening, so don't do such a harsh
Oh, okay.
impersonation.
Oh, no.
Ben said,
Is that what you're looking for?
"Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
make Ben sound friendly. We want people
Ben
to call
is
us."
really friendly. He's by far the friendliest of all of us.
Yeah, we
so-
decided that he's
yeah.
the guy that should be taking the initial phone calls.
Yeah,
from now on,
absolutely.
so.
That's why Ben is.
why Ben's
that's
not here.
why Ben's not here because
Right.
he is out doing his due
Yeah,
diligence and out
he's on
there,
the phone.
whatever they call that, shaking heads and kissing babies or something like that. So
Shaking hands.
shaking hands. Well, they didn't say shaking babies. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't shaken a hand in a year. I don't know.
When's the last time you shook a head?
Exactly. I mean, only a couple of weeks ago.
Well, thank you both. To
Okay.
Dan and Josh for joining us
Yes.
today from Golden Goose Digital Marketing.
I've got nothing.
We'll have them come back.
Yeah, I
and
think so.
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure out more digital
Maybe
topics.
we can get Ben on the phone or something.
There we
can
go.
include him that
That
way.
could be an idea. I think we
Yeah.
could do it. Ben's a very
We
busy
do the
guy.
Ben floating
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do. Yeah, we'll get him I can hold
Ben
his
on
stick, and then
stick.
he can be on the call part of it. Yeah, that'd be great. He would probably enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
He would love to be on this. Yeah.
Golden Goose DM.
Yes, goldengoosedm.com.
.com
Yep.
is where people can find you, and obviously, people should check them out soon because you got to get ready for the holidays, right?
Yeah, they're busy
totally.
guys.
Yeah.
And do that. So thank you both for joining us, and this has been the Inside Business Mesa Chamber of Commerce podcast. I am the, I guess, co-host
Today. There you go.
and
Yeah, I'm Sally. There you go.
Sally, just Sally,
Yeah,
not Sally Harrison, President and CEO of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce.
that too.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us, gents. Have a great rest of your day.
All right.
Thanks.
This has been a Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business podcast. You can find all podcast episodes at iTunes, Spotify, or your own favorite podcast website. You can also find them online at mesachamber.org. Content of this podcast is copyright the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, unless otherwise noted.